Hello again everyone. This is me, ちなつ。今回はスペシャルゲスト、焼きそばサムさんとの対談というかインタビューになります。サムさんはスウェーデンの方なんですけれども、独学で日本語を勉強された方です。サムさんは日本語学習の方法を英語でシェアしています。本当に笑いが絶えなくてかなり楽しいインタビューですので、皆さんにはもちろん英語のリスニングとして楽しんでいただきたいのと、あとはサムさんの日本語への取り組み方とか、言語学習の思いとかですね、そういうのも楽しんでいただけたらなと思います。I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you have got any questions, comments, please let me know. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you're more than welcome to as well. Alright, let's get right into it.Today's special guest is Samu, yakisoba. Well, actually, I wanted to ask why your YouTube channel is called Samu Yakisoba.
That's a really good question. It's really random. I honestly, there's this game called 13 Sentinels, actually. I think it's like 13騎兵なんとかなんとか I don't really remember the title. 音読みばかりみたいな感じなんですけれども。And in this game, there's this character who loves yakisoba pan.
Okay.
For some reason, I don't know the cultural significance of this yakisoba pan, but he loves it. And one morning I was just walking around my house and I was like, yakisoba pan, copying this character. And then I was like, yakisobasam. いいなと思って
I love that.
That was just like a very random.
Right. Can I explain to my viewers like how I found your YouTube channel and how I reached out to you? Samu-san, he makes videos about like how he improved his Japanese, and I was like, wow, his study methods are so resonating with me. I wanted to ask, like, what inspired you to start learning Japanese in the first place?
Yeah, I actually, when I was a kid, I was super interested in languages to begin with. I was also obsessed with English when I was really, really young.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was already interested as a kid in languages, but then in the mornings they would show like Sailor Moon or like Pokemon or like these anime series on TV. Of course, they weren't in Japanese at that time, but I got really intrigued by this art style. So when I got a little bit older, I got into like Naruto and Death Note and started playing these like fighting games, these like Naruto fighting games. And then they would speak Japanese, right? So I would listen to Japanese passively a lot and just think like, oh, that sounds nice. But then when they would do their like super moves in the game, these like kanji characters would pop up on the screen and it would be like, Katon Gokake no Jutsu. Like, that kind of thing.
Classic.
And kanji just like took me for a spin and that's when I started getting interested in learning, but I eventually quit.
I heard that in your video.
So I've been studying for almost 8 years and somehow I came across this like Death Note manga volume that I had bought. I don't know when, but I had it in my closet for some reason. So I just took it and like looked at the pages and I was like, oh my God, it would be so nice if I could actually read this. Like it would be so, that used to be a dream of mine, you know? So I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I came across this app called Wanikani, or this service where you can...
Wanikani?
So.
Is it only Japanese? Wanikani?
Yeah, it's only Japanese,
Okay. Actually, I wanted to show you something. I still practice kanji like every day. So I do like this every morning.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy, but
that's incredible.
I have to do it because I'm living overseas and I don't really see kanji, right? Like once you stop like the relationship with the kanji, it disappears quickly.
Totally.
So you need to kind of expose yourself to them like constantly. So
No, totally. And it's kind of funny because kanji was sort of one of the main reasons that I got into Japanese because I thought it was so pretty. Like it's a very superficial reason, but
that's fine.
But then I realized how difficult it was. But you know, I found Wanikani and it was kind of the first time that I actually felt like, oh, this is how it works. Because the things that I had tried before, they basically just showed you like Aida, and Aida can be read as kan or ken if it's seken or ma. And I'm like, whoa, like what?
why does it work like that? You don't get that concept.
Exactly. And this sounds like it's going to be like a promotional video for Monikani, but it was honestly like such an amazing resource. And they had this promise, like, if you use this really diligently for 1 year, you can learn all of the Joyo kanji, like you can learn like 2,000 kanji. And I was like, okay, challenge accepted. So yeah, it was really like もう勉強モードみたいな感じ.
Yeah, so like intense 1 year of kanji.
Exactly, because I had like a basic understanding of basic vocabulary. So then my grammar studies also just like went a lot quicker.
Ah, right. You just went consistent and then believing in that material. And actually it worked.
Yeah.
Right. Ah, that's good.
There were just like definitely moments where I was like, because in the beginning it's fun, right? Like it's new and you're like, I'm learning so much. But then you hit a point where you start to see diminishing returns and you're like, why am I doing this? And you start to question yourself. And I think in the beginning, when learning, it's important to sort of stick with things and like really push through. But then when you get to like the intermediate stage or the more advanced stage, that's where I think it's nice to like hop around and get a lot of variety. But in the beginning, like once you need to really get down the basics, and that can be a little bit of a grind sometimes, but get the grit. Totally.
You know, the grit is, it's such a hype recently, like in business scene and all that, but grit, that's the keyword. Let's move on to the next question. So while combining different approaches is important, as you said, hop around once you reach like intermediate level, but what do you think has been like the most effective method for learning a language? For example, in my case, I love reading aloud.
Yeah, I agree that like reading was definitely something that I loved early on, but I realized that my reading got way ahead of my listening abilities. Yeah, there came a point where I had to sort of stop myself from reading and just focus on listening a lot because I could really solve like pretty difficult like なんていうのかな、読解? Like these reading comprehension questions I could do, but when it came to like really basic listening practice tests, I was like, I don't know what they're saying to me. I took the immersion approach, so to speak.
If you encounter some words that you don't know the meaning of, how do you go with them?
Yeah, so like I already had a bank of like visual knowledge, I guess you could say. Like I knew how to read a lot of words, but when they came up in listening, I couldn't recognize them. So what I basically just ended up doing was to pick like an episode of something. It could be anime, it could be a drama or something. I mostly used anime because that's what I thought was the most interesting. And then I would listen and just like stop every single time. I don't know if this is the best like way to learn actually, but I would stop every single time I didn't understand something. And then I would try to listen again, and then I would try to look it up from what I heard and then be like, oh, but I know this word. And then every time that happened, slowly, I would like build up my vocabulary that I could understand from listening. But I also think it's important to like have more of a flow sometimes. Maybe you pick some stuff up, maybe you miss a lot of stuff, but like just getting used to the speed at which the language is spoken, I think that's also super important.
First, we didn't understand the meaning of the word, or probably it's the very first time that we see the word. But after that, thanks to the context, we get to know like, oh, this is how that means. Like you guess, without looking up, that sensation, that, aha moment actually gives me so much like connection with the word.
Yeah, I definitely had a lot of moments like that too. And I think I talked about it a little bit in one video of mine, but like when I actually speak to real people, so like not an AI teacher or like not like on my own. All the mistakes that I make, and every time I get something pointed out to me, I have this like emotional reaction. And then I tie that emotional experience to that word that I got wrong. And then I just like remember the correct way to say something a lot better than if I'm just like constantly studying in solitude.
So the emotional reaction is more like negative one or like a motivational one, or you get upset with yourself. It's completely fine, right? Because
no, I know,
you said that you are more like a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Right? So like I should have said this, should have said that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something that I'm trying to get better at for sure. Like I try to make it more of a, oh, it happens to everyone, like 仕方ないみたいな。
しょうがないね。
Yeah, しょうがないねみたいな。Like so, like that sort of mentality, I think is really helpful. But
Yeah.
I think I would have somehow this strange like pride.
It's fine though.
Yeah.
It's natural though.
Totally. It's a double-edged sword, this like taking something really seriously, because I think it's going to help you get really far, but it's also going to put you down sometimes, you know.
All right, let me look at the third question. I want you to speak Japanese though at some point.
いや、緊張してますね。日本語できるかな。
わかります。気持ちわかります。日本語で聞きたい質問。私が気になってた。日本語でいいですかもう。
じゃあ、日本語話しましょう。
日本語話しましょう。
はい。
本当にサムさん、日本語素敵なので。
いやいや、そんなことないですよ。
何回もいいんですけど、この返し方がすごい日本じゃないですか。いやそんなことないです。でもスウェーデン語でもこういうコミュニケーションしますか？例えば英語だったらこう褒められたらThank you とか言うじゃないですか。
そうですね。
ちょっと聞きたかったのが、日本語とスウェーデン語のこう大きい違いってあるかなってちょっと聞きたかったんですよ。
スウェーデン語と英語がちょっと似てると思うんですけど、なんか英語となんていうのかな、日本語が全然違いますよね。やっぱり雰囲気とか、なんか、アメリカ人と日本人の間にスウェーデン人がいるみたいな、なんか自己主張するのはアメリカ人ですよね。そういう一概に言えない。一概に言うのはちょっと、カットです。私が英語を習っている時にすごく大変だなって思ったのは、こうそもそも書ける言葉とかが違う。例えばなんか、日本語で頑張れとか、なんていうんですかね、言いますよね。頑張れってすごい try hard みたいな感じじゃないですか。そうですね。でも英語だと good luck とか you can do this とかって言いますよね。そうですね。そのサムさんの場合は何かこう日本語とスウェーデン語の違いがすごく大きくて戸惑ったこととかってありますか？ いい質問ですね。ちょっと難しい質問でもあるし、
そうか。
そうですね。私は英語の方が話しやすいし、英語がちょっとなんか母語じゃないんですけれども、そういう感じの時もあるし、でも本当になんか英語とスウェーデン語がちょっと似ていると思いますので、なんか英語の何と答えればいいかわかんないんですよね。はい、ちょっとすみません。
でもいいですよ。大丈夫。いいですよ、全然。それも
何このインタビュー。何も答えられないや。
でも嬉しいです。正直に答えていただける方が嬉しいので。
頑張ります。
ありがとうございます。はい、頑張ってください。I want to do Japanese interview a little bit later again. Another question. Do you focus more on input or output?
I definitely would say that I focus more on input. I think that most of my Japanese studying has been input, like probably 99%, honestly. But that's also because I've had to create my own Japanese environment. And there hasn't really been a lot of opportunities for me to naturally practice output.
Talk to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mostly just talk to myself, and I try to make different statements or talk about what I'm doing or talk about, I don't know, language learning, or just I pick a topic beforehand and I talk about it.
You use anime to learn Japanese. You're the proof that even though you did a lot of input from anime and stuff, but still your Japanese is natural.
Thank you. I don't know.
Actually, was there any tip though?
Let's see. The first few times that I tried to speak Japanese, of course it was really difficult. Almost nothing came out naturally. But I think if you do a bunch of input, I'm gonna get to the anime thing later, but I think if you do a bunch of input and then practice output, it's gonna take you to a place, getting to a point where you can comfortably express your thoughts. It's not going to take too long. At least it didn't for me. Of course, it took a year maybe before I was actually comfortable conveying my own ideas. But I had this database of example sentences, let's say, in my brain where I was oh, but this is kind of how Japanese native speakers usually express their ideas. But if you don't have this and you start speaking from day one, like I tried it in the beginning actually, all of my sentences were just like super unnatural. And sometimes, because I was like translating directly from English or Swedish to Japanese. So for example, if I wanted to say like, oh, what's wrong? I would want to say like, 何が違うの? Or like 何が違いますか? Like instead of like どうしたの? But if you hear どうしたの? You're like, that's how you say it, you know?
Yeah. So like a massive archive in your head.
Exactly.
So,
and since I used a lot of anime in the beginning, the first time I tried to speak, I would, for example, end my sentences a lot with だ, like スウェーデン人だ.
so that.
そうだとか、like
私はサムだ。
そういや、私じゃなくて俺はみたいな。
俺はサムだ。
Like
we need to have that figuring out kind of moments, right?
I think like having these moments, these aha moments of like, oh, I've been saying that wrong, or like, oh, that's not how you express that idea. I think that's super important. And you know, in the beginning, like I said, I would like put myself down for it, but I think it like why do we do that? Or like why do I do that? Like who am I trying to prove myself to? I'm doing this because it's fun. I'm doing this because it's like a hobby or a passion of mine. Like let's just have fun. And it sounds a little bit like vibey, but I really think that energy is super important for language learning.
My workplace is an environment where so many international people are working together and we support each other. And we don't take mistakes seriously. We sometimes say something like doesn't really make sense in English, or something like you don't really hear from native English speakers. But we try to understand each other and be nice to each other. As you said, like a vibey, you know.
Totally, yeah.
Oh, that's good. It's been fun though, Sam. Thank you so much.
I'm having so much fun. I really hope that this turns out to be something you can use.
I mean, yeah, totally.
I mean, we'll see. It's up to you. Yeah, no pressure.
But I want to put so many like laugh moments, probably.
I mean, let's have fun. I do have one thing that I realized that you say in Japanese a lot that really doesn't happen in Swedish at all. And it's like 行ってきます when you say, I'm gonna go somewhere and then I'm gonna come back. Like 行ってきます. And we don't have this concept in English where we're like, I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna come back too. Like we don't say that we're gonna come back. You announce that you're gonna be back. Like you let people know, I'll be back.
行ってきます. Okay. I've never thought about it because for me, 行ってきます is like, I'm leaving. That's true.
Like if you say, スーパーに行きますよ。スーパーに行ってきますよ。なんか違う印象ありますか？
行ってきますよ。Oh, let me think about it. スーパーに行きます。スーパーに行ってきます。Yeah, actually, 行きます means just like go there. So the destination is the supermarket, but 行ってきます is like go and come back.
Yeah, and like in English, we would never say like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the store and come back. Or like I wouldn't say that.
That's true. I like that. Look, probably because one possible way would be, hey family, I come back here, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's kind of nice that you're like letting people know like, I'm gonna go, but I'll be back. I don't know, that's reassuring somehow. Like you won't be gone forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna leave you. I'll be here soon. Yeah. I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? Is there anything else? Something like that?
Oh, yeah, it's hard to come up with something right on the spot, but that's definitely one of them. I have one other thing that I realized, like, if I say, 床にスマホが落ちているよと言ったら, it means that the smartphone is just like, it's just laying on the ground, right? It's not actively like falling.
That's true.
And this,
落ちてる。
yeah, even though it's 落ちている, like, なんていうのかな日本語で現在形じゃなくてなんか
落ちている like 現在進行形
そうそれ Usually when I hear that it makes me think of an action that's ongoing like oh it is falling or like I am running but in Japanese it happens a lot that you use that term for something that has like happened and is still in that state. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like movingここに来ていますとか like I'm not coming here I've come and I am here. Is that what it means? 来ています
がここに来てます。For example, you can say 台風が来ています。Like typhoon is coming.
Right.
But also you can say, yeah, like I'm in Tokyo. Like 東京に来ています。
Right.
Like
So it can
now.
be both. Okay, cool. Because I'm
Yeah,
always
it can be
confused
both.
there. Like, oh, are you
Okay.
like on the way or like, yeah.
日本語の勉強で一番難しいのって何でしたか？
まあ漢字と言いたいんですけど、やっぱりイントネーション。イントネーション。
サムさん、イントネーションめっちゃ上手ですよ。
本当ですか？いや、そんなことないと思うんですよ。イントネーションってやっぱりなんか特に動詞の活用というんですか？活用。
はい、活用形。
そう。
あれですか？
食べるって、
はい、
なんか中がなんかべが高いですね。
食べる。はい。
でも食べただとたが高い。
いや確かに。
そう。でそれがめちゃくちゃ難しいと思いますよ。
確かに結構その日本語を学んでる方で食べたみたいなこういう感じやっぱりちょっとアンナチュラルな感じになってしまったりしますよね。
私もなんていうのかな、なんか食べたとかいう時もあります。なんか自然と正しい肯定アクセントというんですよね。なんか肯定アクセントで話すのがめちゃくちゃ難しいと思います。でもたくさんインプットしたら自然とできるようになるかなって勝手に思って、そういう勉強はあんまりせずにはい、
なるほど自然に、
そう身につけるかな、そういう方法でちょっと。
でも確かにその英語で言ってもそうですよね。そのイントネーションとかアクセントとかっていうのも周りが話してるのを聞いてこれが自然だなって自分の中でこう、落とし込むというか。そう
ですね。でそれがやっぱり一番難しくて、漢字とかはもちろん難しいんですけど、今のようになんか漢字じゃなくて漢字でしょ？漢字が漢字がもちろん難しいんですけれども、コツをつかめたらただ時間がかかるみたいなことだと思います。
なるほど。例えば、私的に意見なんですけど、第二言語、第三言語を習っている時に、なんか完璧じゃなくてもいいのかなっていう。どうしても第一言語の、雰囲気とかって流れてしまうじゃないですか。でも
そうですね、
いいんじゃないって私は結構思うし、ジ
ャ
パニーズアクセントとか入るわけじゃないですか。でもサムさんどうですか？パーフェクショニストですけど。
でも私はコミュニケーションツールだけじゃなくて、言語イコール芸術みたいなマインドセットかもしれないな。
わかる。
なんかすごい洗練された文章とか、なんかすごい伝わればいいみたいな感じで勉強してるんじゃなくて、もうちょっとなんか素敵な文章とか、なんか素敵な、言葉遣いができるようになりたいなっていう。夢があるんですけど、
確かに。いや、もう素敵ですよ。
いやありがとうございます。
でも自分らしくなかったら意味がないっていうか、なんか私もサムさんと同じで英語の音とかがすごく好きなので、いい英語を話したいっていう気持ち、多分それサムさんと一緒だと思う。そう、
私もそう思います。
と思います。最後にアニメへの愛を話しますか？
アニメの愛
話したいですか？
I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I have to say like I was really interested in anime as like a teenager, and in my early 20s, like I loved like 進撃の巨人 when it came out, and I thought that was really wonderful. But if it wasn't for learning Japanese, I actually don't think that I would watch that much anime. I mostly just watch it because it's like a fun way of studying. And I do think that like all of the elements around it are really impressive, like the art and the seiyuu sound and like all of the things that go into it. And like if the BGM, if the music is really, really great, that's also like a huge plus. So that's why like Death Note to me, I just have to say like is one of the best creations of all time when it comes to like music, art style, script, and like character design, and like it manages to have this like beautiful gothic vibe, and it's like I can't stop. I don't know. It's just like such a beautiful language to listen to. Otaku boy.
Otakuだね。I get a lot of like comments or DMs like, hey, which TV show like should I use to
Yeah.
improve my English? But I'm like, I can't recommend you one specific one. Like you probably want to choose like, you know, take a responsibility of like what you use, because then that's where empowerment or like, you know, all that yaruki comes
Yeah,
from.
watch what you would continue to watch, you know, because as long as you continue, like, 継続は力なりということわざがあるよね。
Yes, love that.
Yeah, like I really think that's true, and especially for language learning. Like if you stop,
Yes.
it's over. But like as long as you continue, like 少しずつ you're gonna improve. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
そうね、継続は力なり。
そう。
Should we finish then? You were very insightful, and it was actually fun. It was so much fun. We had so much laughs.
Yeah, I had a bunch of fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Let's say bye. Just bye.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
じゃあね。
Okay. じゃあね。じゃあね。